Hey guys, today I'm out in Detroit taking a look at the 2025 Ford Maverick. They've made some pretty substantial changes for this model year, even though the Maverick is not that old. And that's because it's selling incredibly well. Last year they sold nearly 100,000 Mavericks, and not too surprisingly, almost half of them were hybrids. So let's take a look and see what they've changed for 2025 and talk about the big change to the hybrid. I'll tell you in advance, it's all-wheel drive. Up front, we also see some exterior changes. So in this Lariat trim, you'll see the up-end headlight here. It's a projector LED with an incandescent turn signal, this LED light pipe there. We also have a bigger, bolder grille and a different lower grille treatment there. If we move on over to this XLT, this is what the base headlights look like. These are LEDs, but they're reflectors, not projectors. You'll notice that the whole module has become slimmer and a little bit angrier looking. But we still have this very distinctive slopey style to the front end of the Maverick, where we have this section that kind of merges bell-shaped down towards the front. I've never been the biggest fan of that particular angle, but I think it actually works a little bit better with this headlight design than with the previous one. This is the new Tremor trim. Tremor has become a trim, not a package, and we find the same sort of accents that we find in the F-150. The gold accents there, gold recovery hooks down below, and a revised lower bumper to help improve that approach angle. This one also has the same projector headlights that we saw in the upper trim. Moving out to the back of this Tremor, you'll see the updated taillights here. There's a light pipe in the top end version, and I really appreciate some of the small architectural details inside the headlight itself. Now, size-wise, the Maverick has not changed for 2025, and that really makes this a right-sized truck for a lot of Americans, but it's not really a small truck. I still laugh when people say the Maverick is a truly small truck for America. This is significantly larger than trucks were in the 1980s if we're talking about small trucks. But you know, if you think a Ford Explorer or a Dodge Durango is subcompact, then, you know, hey, sure, it's a subcompact truck. It's about 200 inches long. Moving over here to this trim here, this is the XLT with the FX4 off-road package. You'll notice that we don't have the LED light pipe, but the taillights look very, very similar to the other trim. I like the fact that Ford has harmonized the design a little bit, but they're still really saving some of those extras for the upper end trim. The tailgate still features adjustable tethers, so you can have the tailgate either fully down or in a partially down position where it's level with the cargo bed back here. Remember that the Maverick does not have a terribly big bed, because the mission of the Maverick was really to be sort of a Ford Escape with a pickup truck bed in the back, and that's essentially what we have here. The need to have 4 doors and have a relatively large passenger compartment means that the bed definitely has to be compromised in the back versus something like a Ranger or, of course, an F-150. But let's talk about what's going on under the hood, because that's a bigger change. Just like 2024, we have 2 engine options for 2025, but one of them is new. It's actually a new 4th generation Ford hybrid system producing 191 horsepower. The engine displacement's the same, 2.5 liters. This is the hybrid model right here, but the transmission is different. It's using the Ford Planetary power split style transmission with new motors and better efficiency than before. The front wheel drive trim gets 2 miles per gallon better in the city. I would expect a slight combined fuel economy improvement as well, but the big change is the addition of Ford's all-wheel drive system. Something, honestly, I was surprised that the original Maverick was missing, but I think that Ford was really surprised by how many people ended up really wanting a 40 mile per gallon smaller truck in the United States. And that's exactly why they've decided to add all-wheel drive. It's basically a familiar Ford crossover or SUV all-wheel drive system, so it's not the twin clutch system that we find in some Fords out there, but it is going to give you not only added traction, but also added towing capability, because now the all-wheel drive hybrid is good to tow up to 4,000 pounds. The same towing capacity actually as the 2-liter turbocharged model. So you no longer have to choose whether you want fuel efficiency or towing capability. You can actually get them both in the same Maverick. Of course, if you want 238 horsepower, you can still get the 2-liter turbo, and it's still mated to an 8-speed automatic. One thing I've always loved about the Maverick is the way that Ford decided to dress up what is a relatively inexpensive interior. And they've done that with a lot of different material choices and unique textures and patterns in here as well. So things like the fabric on this model, it's not just a monochromatic gray, it has threads in there of blue, there are also some white threads in there helping dress that up. And then moving over to the doors, we definitely find some unique patterns and textures here as well. Lots of hard plastics, as you'd expect out of a car that was designed to start around $20,000, but we have things like those blue inserts in this trim, which are a nice touch. If we move on over to the dashboard, we have what kind of looks like a Formica kitchen countertop in terms of its pattern, but I think again that really dresses up the interior. Big change though for 2025, the screen has grown enormously. Check that out, it's about a 13-inch screen right here in the dashboard. Of course, it has our infotainment controls and our climate controls in there. It's also going to support wireless smartphone projection, so if you're a fan of wireless Android Auto, definitely the way to go. Down the dashboard, we have more blue accents there with those big air vents, lots of blue going on around that charging mat there in the storage area. Touch buttons right here in the middle. We still have the same rotary shifter as before and big cup holders, even more blue accents there. And then moving all the way over to the driver's side here, we have an approximately 8-inch partial LCD instrument cluster. On the left and the right side of the instrument cluster, we have LED gauges for things like the engine temperature and the fuel level, but everything else is being presented by that big LCD in the middle. If we hop into a Lariat trim, you can see some of the differences in terms of the accent colors and the different textures going on here. So we have sort of a brown-orange, I guess you'd say, as far as the accents. Different texture and color going on there for that trim panel, and on the doors you can see those sort of rust-colored accents as well. And then back to the center console, the other feature you'll notice is now available in the Maverick is Ford's Pro Trailer Backup Assist software. That allows you to back up a trailer just using this knob. You basically just turn the knob as to where you want the trailer to go, and it will just go in that direction. They also have a trailer hitch-up assist function that looks to be pretty practical for first-time towers or inexperienced towers. Down here you'll notice we don't have as many accents as we found in the other models. This interior is a little bit more muted, so we don't have those bronze accents in this area. But we do have kind of a fun color palette here with this navy blue section. I think it goes really well with the brown or tan, whatever we're going to call that, and then the stitching that's coordinating with those accents on each side. When it comes to driver assistance systems, we now get lane keeping standard on every Maverick. That's in addition to the autonomous emergency braking that was standard last year, and you can still get things like blind spot monitoring and adaptive cruise control if you're interested in those packages as well. If you want to get your hands on the Maverick, ordering is going to be available just about the time that you're watching this video, and it is going to be a bit more expensive than last year. It's going to start at $26,295, but that is going to get you the hybrid drivetrain under the hood. Again, Ford has been incredibly aggressive at positioning the hybrid as the standard drivetrain in the Maverick, and then really trying to keep prices low. This is still going to be one of the least expensive hybrids you can buy in North America, and with fuel economy ranging from around 40 to 42 miles per gallon, this is also going to be one of the more efficient options. If you're shopping for really any hybrid compact crossover, say RAV4, CR-V hybrid, Sportage, etc., you might really want to check out something like the Maverick. Not only is this less expensive than the average hybrid compact crossover, you have the added practicality of the bed in the back. You do have to give up a little bit of interior room, let's be honest. We don't find as much legroom as you find in a Ford Escape or a RAV4 or CR-V, and that's simply because they have to be able to put a usable bed in the back, and that does result in a slightly smaller back seat than the average compact crossover. But aside from that, that's really going to be the only compromise. And you're going to be able to tow more than any of the hybrid compact crossover competition, at least for the moment, with up to 4,000 pounds of towing capability on the all-wheel drive hybrid model. Be sure and let us know what you think about all that down there in the comment section. Do you have a Maverick now? Are you interested in a Maverick? And which way would you go? Do you want the 2-liter turbo that we find over here in this XLT? Or do you want 40 miles per gallon like we find over here in this Lariat? To be honest, I really thought at the beginning all-wheel drive was the only thing missing to make the Maverick perfect, and now Ford has added that one feature on the Maverick. So let us know what you think about that down there again, and are you team turbo or are you team hybrid? See all of you next week.